you all have watched my last video. I have talked about how to deal with GS paper 2 and political science and international relations. Now today at Duskyboard we have started an initiative to cover all the current affairs related with GS paper 2 and political science and international relations. Okay. Now the first topic which I am going to cover is from the newspaper of Saturday. There is one editorial, that is Neighbourhood First by Suhasini Haidar. Neighbourhood First. I know that the students will face problem that this editorial is either on neighbourhood or only 2 or 3 lines has been mentioned with respect to all the neighbouring countries. But the crux of the editorial is neighbourhood first. Therefore, in this video, I will first deal with neighbourhood first policy, and in the second video, I will deal separately with the bilateral relations with all the neighbouring countries. Okay? Now, coming to the neighbourhood first policy. Before Gujarat Doctrine, you all have heard about Gujarat Doctrine. Before that doctrine, India has never officially stated that we have a neighbourhood policy. Although the neighbourhood policy or neighbourhood foreign policy has been guided by the principles of Panchsheel and NAM. Okay, principles of Panchsheel and NAM. Actually, these were the guiding principles to establish the friendly relationship with neighboring countries before coming of Gujarat Doctrine. Actually, this doctrine is separately focusing on how to build the relationship with our neighboring countries. There are 4 or 5 principles on which this doctrine has been set. Okay. Now, the first principle is India must not demand reciprocity from the neighboring countries. Why? Because India should show the big heart. Because India is 70% of the South Asian countries geographically, you can say, or politically and economically also, India is much more equipped with respect to the neighboring countries. Therefore, India must not ask for reciprocity. Okay. Second one is mutual respect. Mutual respect. Third one is no country in South Asian region should or would allow the foreign power or any power from outside the region to use their territory against the interest of other country. Okay? No country should allow foreign power to use its territory against the interest of others. Okay? And fourth one is respect for sovereignty and territorial integrity. This is fourth. Respect for sovereignty and territorial integrity. Respect for sovereignty and territorial integrity. And the fifth one is all the disputes should be bilaterally solved. Okay? In India-Pakistan relation, or in Bangladesh, or in India-Bhutan, or India-Nepal, the relationship must be established or must be solved if there is any problem through the bilateral negotiation. Okay? Bilateral negotiation. In solving any irritant issue. Okay. This is a Gujarat Doctrine. Now, today, the New Delhi is talking about Gujarat Doctrine 2.0. Okay. Already, the Gujarat Doctrine 2.0 has been used mostly in the news or by the foreign analysts, but MEA has not officially stated that we have a Gujarat Doctrine 2.0. But you can use it in your answer that today there is a need of Gujarat Doctrine 2.0. Now the question arises that why do we need Gujarat Doctrine 2.0? Because Gujarat Doctrine was based on idealistic principles. But today what China is doing? China is using a checkbook diplomacy. China is gaining strategic and economic advantage in the South Asian region. Therefore, what we need to mold our Gujarat Doctrine suiting to the needs of the current scenario, of the current reinventing geopolitical and geoeconomic realities of the region. Okay, therefore we need Gujarat Doctrine 2.0. Here I have mentioned 2.0 only so that you people can use it as a conclusion in your answer. Okay. Now, you all have heard about Neighbourhood First policy when Mr. Modi came to the power in 2014. Okay. Now, what is Neighbourhood First policy? It has never been stated by Ministry of External Affairs or by any government official that what does it actually means, that what is Neighbourhood First. But according to Dhruva Jaishankar, he is a foreign analyst. You can quote him in your answer that according to the Dhruva Jaishankar, Neighbourhood First policy has 4 aspects. Okay, has 4 aspects. What are the 4 aspects? First is political and diplomatic priority. And diplomatic priority to the countries of the South Asian region. Okay, you all have seen that Mr. Modi has sometimes broke the protocol and went directly to the airport to receive the foreign dignitaries. Okay, it means there is a diplomatic depth or there is a diplomatic priority given by the Indian circles of the foreign analysts or Indian circles of the foreign policy makers to the South Asian region. Second is integration and connectivity. Whenever I am talking that there is a connectivity, it simply means that connectivity in terms of physical connectivity, connectivity in terms of digital connectivity, okay, connectivity in terms of soft power connectivity through cultural aspects. Okay. Now, third one is support. Whenever required, it means here support means countries in the South Asian region may need the support of humanitarian assistance, may need the diplomatic support, may need the support in case of crisis like in Rohingya crisis issue. Bangladesh needs the support from India to check Myanmar. Okay. Therefore, he has mentioned that support whenever required. Okay. Now, the fourth aspect is India-led regionalism. He has talked about that Neighbourhood First policy also intends to have an Indian-led regionalism in which neighboring countries are comfortable. Therefore, India-led regionalism. These are the 4 aspects of Neighbourhood First policy. Now, my question to all of you is the Neighbourhood First policy by choice or by force? Okay, is Neighbourhood First policy by choice or by force? Then always, if there is any question in examination where it has been asked to give your own view, then always give arguments for both the aspects. If I am telling that yes, it is a choice, it is a choice because Indian foreign policy are based on the value of pluralism, are based on the value of cooperation, okay, are based on the value of cosmopolitanism. Basically, summing up all this, you can say that it is by choice because India's foreign policy is guided by civilizational ethos. Okay, choice. India's foreign policy is guided by civilizational ethos. Second, choice. You all know that today flag follows the trade and trade follows the flag. It means when I am making this statement, it is highlighting that there is an importance of geo-economic aspect in the relationship, and this kind of relationship has much more importance after the theoretical assumption of the sociological liberalism or the school of liberalism, which is talking about the cooperation between the nations with the rise of cobweb model. You all have heard about the cobweb model given by John Butler. Okay. Now the second one is economic aspect. You can mention. This is by choice that we want to integrate the whole South Asian region. Therefore, we have talked about SAFTA. Therefore, we are talking about larger connectivity so that the South Asian region can be connected to the Southeast Asian region. Okay, this is by choice. But I have also mentioned the word force. What does it mean? It means that whenever we are talking about South Asian region, it simply means that the two regional hegemon, one is trying to be an assertive and questioning the hegemony of USA, that is China, and other is India. Both the countries should come into a picture when you are mentioning your answer. Okay. Now by force, you can mention here assertive China. Assertive China may hamper the democratic fabric of the South Asian region, because China does not believe in the process of democratization. Okay. Assertive China does not believe in process of democratization. Second is, India does not want that the South Asian region get transformed into a condition which is prevalent in the Middle East, okay, or in West Asia. Therefore, it is forced to behave in such a way that the cooperation must be established in the South Asian region between the countries. Okay. Therefore, India does not want that South Asian region gets transformed into West Asia or Middle East like condition. Third is, India also does not want that there should be a fertile ground so that the great power game by the major foreign power gets started in this region also. Okay, this is the reason that I have mentioned that India is not neighborhood first policy, is by choice or by force. Okay, this is the answer of this question. Now, what are the pillars of the neighborhood first policy? What are the pillars? Of neighborhood first policy. You all have heard about 3C. 3C. Culture, commerce, and connectivity. Culture, commerce, and connectivity. These are the pillars of the neighborhood first policy. But I am giving you some trick which will make your answer different from the other, because all will mention the 3C. But now I am going to mention that we also need 5S, or you can say that the neighborhood first policy is based on the 5S pillars. What is 5S? Samriddhi, prosperity, suraksha, security, Sanskriti, culture, Samman, respect, and Samvad, public diplomacy. Okay? Or any round of negotiation between the countries. These are the 5S. These are the pillars of our neighborhood first policy. Okay? Now, we all have talked about neighborhood first policy, its pillars, whether it is by choice or by force. But the question remains that as an administrator or as an IFS officer, what you will do to create a depth in your neighborhood first policy. Okay. Suggestion you can mention in your answer, that suggestion to bring depth in neighborhood first policy. What made your suggestion? I have also discussed in the last video that the suggestion is the most important part of your answer. Okay. Now, India needs to be a security provider and a conduit for a humanitarian assistance in the region. Okay. India needs to become a net security provider. Net security provider in Indian Ocean region. Most of the students, when we discuss that India has a neighborhood first policy, they restrict their answer to 5 or 6 neighborhood countries. But Indian Ocean, all the littoral countries, Maldives, Mauritius, comes under the neighborhood first policy. There, Indian Ocean is considered as an extended neighborhood first policy. Okay. Therefore, you should not forget to mention Indian Ocean also in your answer. Secondly, developmental partnership. You all know that India does developmental partnership assistance in Africa and recently Asia-Africa Growth Corridor with the help of Japan has also been calibrated in African region. Therefore, why not such initiatives can be started in the South Asian region also? Because what you will have to do, you will have to check the checkbook diplomacy of China. What is the checkbook diplomacy? When I am mentioning the checkbook diplomacy by China, it means that China is using its economic power to hold its strategic concern in the South Asian region. You will have to check this checkbook diplomacy. How you can check it? You can check it with the help of like-minded countries, like-minded democracies like Japan, European countries like France, Germany. You can take the help of these countries and go for developmental partnership in the region. Third one is, according to the former diplomat Rakesh Sood, you all have heard his name, Rakesh Sood. He is of the view that India's neighborhood policy is incomplete without changing our stance with respect to the Pakistan. Okay. And in the respect of changing policy, recently there is a track to Neighbourhood dialogue. Track to Neighbourhood dialogue has been started between India and Pakistan. It gives signal that when the track 1 or when the government to government connectivity fails, then track 2 diplomacy comes into a play. Therefore, neighborhood first policy is incomplete without Pakistan. Pakistan must be engaged whether through a government to government connectivity or through track 2 diplomacy. There is a multi-track diplomacy which can be used in case of Pakistan, but you cannot isolate Pakistan. Okay? Rakesh Sood. Neighborhood first policy is incomplete without involving Pakistan. Without involving Pakistan. In this case, we can go for track diplomacy. If you are facing problem that when the Indian government has maintained a stance that there will be no talk when there is a terror, then the track 2 diplomacy will continue its work to engage Pakistan. Fourth thing, India is a hub of education. Therefore, what India can do, India can provide short-term skill training, short-term computer program training to the people of the region, so that Smriddhi, I have talked about Smriddhi in 5 years, so that a Smriddhi or prosperity of the nation can be ensured. The advantage of a Smriddhi and prosperity is that you can check radicalism if the youth are engaged in skill works. Okay? India is a hub of education and India should use it. 5. for informal summit like one summit with China. One summit with China. One summit with China. This is an informal summit, okay? Because this is between the head of the government, but it was not formal mechanism. What has been done in one summit? China and India. China took the steps to go for the joint developmental project in Afghanistan. Therefore, the advantage of such informal summit is that there is a chance between the two confrontalist countries to come together to cooperate, and that will be the advantageous for Southeast Asian nations, not only in terms of raising infrastructure you can say, but also in terms of checking China assertiveness. Okay, thank you.